this morning. Yeah, we still have right here with us Chinedum, Mazi Chinedum Obioha. Very, very briefly, what's your take on this very issue?
I think I agree no less with him. I agree no less with him. But at the same time, we have to look some areas. I may not totally agree that the Aboki people don't have influence, because who are the operators of this black market? Are they not the one? They are the one. And who are in central bank? Are they not the one? Who are in the commercial banks? Are they not the one? And the worst thing you will do for those of us who are grassroots is for you to go and exchange any money with Aboki, especially those that parade themselves along the road, Allen and other places. If you dare exchange money with go there for anything, you will weep tears everlasting.
Thank you very much. Now, okay, that's just the very first phase of our discussion this morning. Moving on, the Senate President Ahmed Lawan and the Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, in separate remarks, have appealed to Nigerians not to abandon the federal government and the fight against bandits, terrorists and kidnappers. Making veiled references to the issue of terrorism and kidnapping across the country, Lawan and Yahaya called on all political traditional leaders to see security as a collective issue that must be fought together. Back to you, Mazi Chinedum. Now, there is no doubt that security is a collective responsibility. Now, the question is, how sincere, how dedicated, how determined are those assigned with the primary responsibility of securing the country?
Yeah, I think the first question you asked me, I think during the paper reviews, somebody accused that they are not sincere. Charity, they say, begins at home, but doesn't end there. Now, a senator also said the politicians should say the truth about what is happening. And again, some of these people, their utterances have now made people to say they are not actually serious, they are not sincere. How come that a whole sitting senator will say that the Boko Haram people, the bandits, they are our children, right? We should give them amnesty. But don't forget that even when during the campaign in 2014, Mr. President said that he cannot negotiate with criminals. But today, now, Mike, have you sat back and said, well, if any person is kidnapped and they demand millions of naira, how do they source this fund? Where do they deposit it? From who collects it? I read a story where somebody said that they normally have an insider somewhere. Yes, which is true, because there's no. It is a rat here that will tell the other rat outside that there's meat here, right? Now it is only the rat here will invite the ones outside here. If they demand 200 million, and the 200 million are sourced, where is sourced? Where did they source it? And who took it? And look at the I think Sheikh Gumi or whatever said, Sheikh Gumi, he has been an intermediary, so which means he knows them. There was a time we have Mama Boko Haram. She was a mediator. Then, Mark, why are you asking me why they are sincere? They are not sincere. They are wicked. If they want to end this insurgency, it will end within a reasonable period of time. Let General Abacha said, if any insurgents go beyond 24 hours, even more than one month, the government has a hand.
All right, now that the Senate President and the Chief of Army Staff has become on the national rulers and political leaders to take insecurity or to come together for the fight against insecurity, I know there's a point when the issue of community policing was everywhere. Everyone was talking about community policing, because for these terrorists that go into secondary schools and come into communities, if they have a policing system, they know the nook and crannies of all of these places. Like the vigilantes, they know the nook and crannies more than an outsider, more than even the governor of that state. So I do think we are really taking advantage of community policing to solve insecurity? Because I saw a video of these people coming into these communities with motorcycles. You can't say they are coming into these communities and nobody is seeing them, or nobody raised an alarm, or these community vigilantes, they didn't even know or are not aware of their coming. I'm just saying, putting it in clear terms. So do you think we are taking advantage of community policing?
Not being in place, Abi?
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
Or even being in place.
No. You see, and some other platforms and for advocating for community policing, it will help. It will go a long way, because these people, they know the terrain, they know the people, they live within themselves. Just like take for example in a state, the exit before you come in, those are the gate. They know who have been the resident there, and they will ask you, whom do you want to see? Where are you going? Blah blah blah, and they will call. So, if there is a community policing, they'll be able to checkmate all these things. But then, let me tell you one thing: their fear is that some governors will take advantage of to fight their political enemies. That's one of the fears. And until we tell ourselves the truth, we will not see the end of this insurgency. Unless we sit down and say enough is enough. The Senate President is not talking. The Chief of Army Staff is not talking. Because it has gotten to them. But I don't want to pray that it gets to them more. But my prayer is that we see the end. When it's a wake-up call.
Oh, yeah.
And how I wish that they will not take it into consideration seriously. Then you remember you talked about Mosaiko here. Somewhere in Kaduna, when the students of this Baptist school they were demanding for Mosaikos.
Yes.
They were demanding for food items and things like that. Okay, where will they buy it? Where will they supply it? Who will not take delivery? What, for Christ's sake, for saying it aloud, are we serious? What they get the money? 200 million. Where would they get it? I mean, it's something we need to talk to ourselves that something is fundamentally wrong with the system.
Now, would you think that civilians are given the necessary encouragement to contribute their quota to the security of the nation?
Yeah, the civilians are not actually given the whatever, but because they are afraid. Civilians are afraid. They are afraid because you see this thing. Unless we decide to make this thing work, otherwise everybody is afraid. Because if you now begin to give information, just like police, Nigerian police, if you report any insurgents to the police will. I don't want to say something that will go contrary to this, but what I want to tell you is that if those in authority want to end this insurgency, they will do it.
You think so?
I think so. When we tell ourselves the truth, when we begin to say enough is enough, how many times have you seen or have you heard that people, even some women, there was a woman that said, my husband was beheaded in my presence. My child was, the other one said, my wife was raped in my presence. What a calamity. What abomination. What abomination. And the people, there was even a story I read that even they have some paid Okada riders who will now take the money, carry it to where they go, and there are 10,000 naira for a checkpoint. But in the southeast, there are so many checkpoints, military checkpoints. And that is why the other day I said, how come that there are so many checkpoints, military checkpoints in Southeast, still we have we have unknown gunmen? It's a serious issue.
Mazi, you've been on the earth for 68 years now.
Yes, by His grace.
Congratulations, and that's really happy birthday in arrears.
Yeah, congrats.
And you said for this long time you've lived here, I'm sure you have many more years to live anyway, because you still look very strong, yeah?
By the special grace of God.
And then you said Nigeria has not been this bad. So I know at that point, I believe at that point when you were growing up, you believed that Nigeria would be better. Yeah, but now at this point, at 68, you said Nigeria hasn't been this bad. That means it was even better at that point now. So do you think there's a need for thorough questioning for our either political leaders or religious leaders, traditional rulers, or need to be for accountability and transparency? And how can these come through?
All of the above: accountability, transparency, and accountability, because our leaders need to account to us. Look, you see what October, like, was it October last or September last year during the NSAS? October. The youths came out in mass and they were speaking in one voice. They were speaking in one voice. And like I said, look, just like in the church, I've said it, that even the church leaders, our ministers, one day our children will ask them, we want to know what you have done with our tithes. So it is important for our leaders to be honest, to be straightforward. To be straightforward. It is also important for let there be justice in the land. Let there be fairness and equity. Some of these insurgencies be as a result of injustice in the land. So until we see the need to play it, look at, if I begin to talk about the federal character now, you begin to ask yourself, how can you treat me badly? How can you treat me? Two persons, and you don't want to do me as you have done to another person. So there'll be problem. There'll be problem. So that's the injustice, inequity and things like that. Until those in authority begin to see it, that there's need for us to sit down. Wole can say that this security, the unity of Nigeria, is negotiable. We need to sit down and say it. You see, even as a grandfather, as a child, there's a need. Your child is behaving. You call him to a round table. What's the problem? There are agitations here and there. Have you been able to say, what is the problem? You have not done that. You can't use force to achieve peace. You can't.
Okay, now, Mazi, intelligence gathering is an essential element in the fight against insurgency. How would you rate this in Nigeria? Among the Nigerian security.
The intelligence gathering, that's the key. But we don't have it. Because, like I made mention that there, in a local way, that it's the rat inside that gives information to the rat outside. If there were intelligent gatherings, how come that our NDA was attacked and an officer captured or kidnapped, and up to now they've not seen him? Invaded. Haba. It gives room for more speculations. When people are saying there has not been any arrest, nothing. Was it not even in this country that was had that Asarok was boggled, some money stolen away? Didn't you hear? You are in the media. You had it. A whole seat of power. You begin to ask yourself, can you travel to the east now? You are from Imo. I'm from Abia. Can you travel to the east with there and be sure of going back there? It's important. It's important. Look. From here to Ore, from Ore to Bini, do you know how many checkpoints here? This military there, what are they doing? Collecting money. I travel every other month. And when we come on air, they say, nobody. Until our leaders, we don't have leaders, we have rulers. Because rulers have the interest of the masses. But rulers have the interest of themselves, but leaders lead aright. They show where they are going. They are meant to influence others. But what we have in Nigeria is rulers
and not,
leaders.
Thank you so very much, Mazi. Thank you so much.
Mazi Chinedum Obioha, thank you so much for having us here. All right, we've been speaking with Mazi Chinedum, and he's been doing justice to the topics, and I'm sure you enjoyed the segment. We'll take a short break, a very, very short break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up the show.
Blood Cancer Awareness Month was initiated.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being with us. Like I always say, without you, there's no Ivan Daybreak. Today is Monday, a very amazing Monday. I'm sure you're going to enjoy the rest of your week just as you've enjoyed the show. Wrap up the show right now with a quote from Albert Einstein. Says, "We cannot solve problems with the kind of thinking we employed when we came up with them." So take that again. We cannot solve our problems with the kind of thinking we employed when we came up with them. So for you to solve problems, you have to look for another kind of thinking, another thinking you use to bring up the problems. If you're just joining, you joined so late, but nonetheless would have a repeat belt for you by 1 p.m. Please do well to tune in. And also tomorrow at 9 a.m. on the dot, we'll bring you a fresh new episode of iBrand Daybreak. My name is Margaret Opara.
And I'm Michael. If you enjoyed today's edition, tomorrow promises to be better. Catch you then.